They were just appalled, saying I was setting such a terrible example for other crafters, that I was a bad representation of what crafting can be or should be. Hi, my name's Mark and welcome to the channel. Today I'm celebrating 1 year of being here on YouTube, creating videos and hosting this channel. So if it's your first time here, welcome. If you've been with me for any duration of the last year, thank you. It means the world that anyone chooses to sit and spend some time with me. Today I wanted to walk through some of the highs, some of the lows, share some behind the scenes of what goes on with the channel and what I've learned from a lot of you. I'm also finally getting around to my 10,000 subscriber giveaway, so stick around to see details of what you need to do to be considered for a chance to win one of these redesigned Project 10 bags. I initially purchased 2 kind of by mistake, so I've got this one as well as one up on the shelf behind me. So the darker leather, I'll show it later in the video, will be given to one of you. So stick around to figure out how to be considered for that, and if you'd like to hear anything about this first year's journey here on YouTube. Let's get into it. So my plan is to be completely transparent in this video. Right now, it's a pretty dreary day in Cleveland. It's the day after Election Day in the United States for the 2024 election. So there's a lot going on, both in my neck of the woods and in the world. So yeah, it feels a bit dreary. It's rainy out, it's dark, it's kind of hot in the house, even though it's November. So it's not the most ideal setting for me to sit down and make a video. I don't share absolutely everything about myself with you. I share a lot of my life. But one of the things that I hope I've made clear is that I really, really, really value kindness. I value patience. And the biggest thing, I'll go ahead and give away, the greatest thing that I've experienced on this channel in the first year is the community that I've made. The people who have come onto the channel that click on these videos, many of you who choose to leave comments, sharing some of yourselves with me, those of you who choose to write letters, emails, you write to me on Ravelry. It doesn't have to be here in the comments on YouTube, but so many of you have taken the time to be generous with your time and share with me and build me up and really invest in what I think is a genuine friendship, a genuine relationship. So I always wish that I could snap my fingers and have anyone watching the video actually gathered in person together, and maybe one day we'll get to do that. I'll talk about some of my dreams, some of my hopes for the future, and that definitely includes putting together actual events, whether they are retreats for crafting or destination trips. Ned and I both love to travel. You may have found us through some of our travel videos from this last summer. So those things are on the wish list, and maybe one day we'll actually be able to sit and craft together. So thank you. I always say thank you for being here, and I really mean it. So let's dive into the first year, sort of reporting first on some of the numbers. I want to share the demographic of who else watches these videos with you. I think it's really interesting stuff. So let's take a look. In the spirit of transparency, I'll also share that as I film, you may have seen this before, I have monitors in front of me. Let me take a little clip so you can actually see what I'm saying. I've got monitors in front of me so that I can see what the cameras are seeing. I've got the above head camera here, the front-facing camera. Sometimes I have my computer in front of me. Usually I have my knitting in front of me, and typically there's a cat or someone else nearby. All of that to say, the transparency. When I sit down, I want to look presentable, but I also have plenty of insecurities about how I look. So I try to make sure that my hair is on correctly. I always say I have to fix my wig. It is my hair, but I feel like, you know, a newscaster or something. So there are a lot of times when I sit down and I just feel kind of yucky, and it's like, I don't really want to be on camera and then put that out into the world. So a lot of this first year has been getting over that, realizing that not everything has to be perfect. I want to be myself. I don't want to sit down and manufacture a personality. I don't want to manufacture content. I want to be honest. I want to talk about what I'm actually working on, give you just a little bit of time. I'll try to articulate this a little more clearly. When I first started making videos, which was December, January, February of 2023 into 2024, YouTube would give me a lot of suggestions, which is helpful. If you've ever created your own channel and you've ever posted videos, you'll know that in the sort of creator's studio or whatever that tab is called on YouTube, it gives you feedback. It tells you what demographics of watchers you're reaching. They give you suggestions of things you could do to help your videos stand out, whether that's creating an engaging thumbnail, working on a title that's catchy, connecting with other channels that have similar content. So for me, sitting down and doing mostly knitting content, sometimes crochet, I like to think of it as fiber arts. I was looking for other channels that weren't huge. I wasn't looking for channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I was looking for people that had 2,000 subscribers, 5,000, maybe 10,000, and seeing what kind of things they post and who their audience is and what people like. And so YouTube gives you all these recommendations to say, look around and just see what other people are doing. And you're not going to copy what they're doing. I mean, you could. I don't think I've directly copied anyone. Sometimes I see a video. There was a huge video about notions and tools. And then I thought, oh, that's a good video to make, to just walk through what kind of tools, what kind of notions you have, what you actually use, and what you don't. So things like that. Anyway, all of this to say, YouTube keeps track of who your audience is and what kinds of videos are most successful. Not that everything is about views, 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 but I do think it's helpful to know what people enjoy watching versus what people maybe don't care for as much, because we all have different tastes, and something I think is a fascinating, great, engaging idea might not actually be that engaging. So let's take a look at some of this information. There's a tab in my Creator Studio that shows me analytics, and it can show me everything broken down by day-to-day, 28-day periods, or over the lifetime of the channel. So I'm looking at the lifetime of the channel here, and I created the channel, I should say, I guess on Friday, April 14th of 2023, because I knew I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I was going to take a few months to practice filming, being on camera, figuring out how to edit. I had no clue how any of that worked when I started, so I didn't post anything until November. And in November, you'll see I start getting some views. So it's just 0, 0, 0 across the board. And then when I get into November, that's when I posted, first I think was like an ASMR knitting at the beach, which I thought was a great idea. Some people have watched it and commented saying, this is peaceful, this is nice to craft to, but I think most people, it wasn't for them. And then I posted my field sweater tutorial, and I was working on the pattern. I was noticing that it was a challenging pattern to follow in some ways. So once I got a hold of it and understood what I was doing, I went to YouTube and I thought, I wonder if people have done tutorials. And there were 2 or 3 tutorials breaking down the stitch that's used in that pattern. And so then I thought, I'll make one of my own. So I put that up, and for me, having 0 subscribers and 0 views, 0 audience members that know about the channel, I think the video did well. It got maybe 200 views in its first week, and I thought that's pretty good that 200 people have stumbled upon this video when I didn't advertise it. I have no existing audience. And then I think because of that video, I started to get a few subscribers. So over that first month, November of last year, I think the channel grew to have maybe a couple hundred subscribers, and that video eventually had a couple thousand views on it, which I was really, really happy with. And so then in December, this was the first video that really got traction. And it's not like anything has ever gone viral. I've had maybe 5 or 6 videos that have received tens of thousands of views, and that's the most I've ever gotten, which for me is amazing. I cannot believe that hundreds of people, let alone thousands of people, might choose to watch something that I've created, kind of sharing my inner monologue and sharing my crafting love. It was a really fun experience when this yarn haul video took off. I typically post things at like 2 a.m. I just have it set to post. Sometimes people say, "What are you doing up that late?" And I'm not up that late. I get the video ready, everything is set, and then it releases. And I do that because I want anyone who's watching in Europe, Asia, Australia to be able to see the video in the morning, or what I think is close to morning time in those various time zones. And I typically post on a Saturday. So I like the idea that if somebody enjoys watching me, maybe they have a little tradition of watching me on a Saturday, maybe as they have their morning coffee or tea, or as they sit down to craft or clean or just breathe after their week. So I typically post in the middle of the night, my time, Eastern time in the United States. All of that to say, by the time I wake up, I typically have some views established from people who maybe were up really late in the US, or people who have already started their days in time zones east of where I live. And in this case, I think that haul video already had 4,000 or 5,000 views by the time I woke up. And so that was its first 4 or 5 hours of being posted, and it already had thousands of views. And I thought, that's amazing. And the comments really ranged. Not everybody loved it. I think it got traction because there were plenty of people who were frustrated by it. One thing I try to do with my videos is post some sort of attention-grabbing title. And when I talked about this previously, people really took it in different ways. I think some people understand how this works on YouTube, how it works on the internet. Anytime you have a news article, a video, if you have a very, very simple, dry title, often it can get buried and it's not going to show up in the algorithm. So if you have something that's a little more, I don't know, exciting in some way, typically that gets picked up. And within the videos, I really try to be grounded. I try to be myself. I try to always be really honest about whatever I'm talking about. But in the title, that might be where I have some of those buzzwords, something catchy. And hopefully people aren't just clicking, getting frustrated by that and leaving. Hopefully you click on it and then realize, okay, it got me here and now I'm going to sit and enjoy. So anyway, with that whole video, there were plenty of comments of people that just like ripped into me. People were appalled that I would spend so much money on yarn. People accused me of being a government plant, that the government was paying me money to try to get men to be feminine. I mean, it was crazy stuff. And so I got these comments, and some of them were so wild that they didn't bother me. I thought, whatever, maybe it's a bot. They're obviously not a regular viewer of mine. They haven't felt any sort of relationship or connection with me as a crafting buddy. They just ended up on the video randomly and wanted to spew whatever they were spewing. And the other people, the comments that did hurt and were harder to read, were from people that get it, that are crafters and like to watch crafting videos and like to connect with people in a virtual community. And they were just appalled, saying I was setting such a terrible example for other crafters, that I was, I don't know, just, I was a bad representation of what crafting can be or should be. And so it hurt, and I lost sleep over these. It was the first time I had a video that reached thousands of people, and so I would read every comment. I still read every comment I get, and some of them were really, really, really harsh, and I would respond. And in the beginning, I responded to every comment, and now that I put up more videos and I have more views coming into the channel, I can't keep up with that, and I wish I could, but right now I can't. So at that time, I was responding to everything, and And I would write back to these really, really brutal comments, some of them with a lot of strong language, some of them with just a lot of aggression, which is fine. People can say what they want to say. Obviously, I'm putting this stuff out publicly on the internet, but it was still jarring to get that response. And I would respond and I would say, thank you for your feedback. Because for them, it felt, I'm sure, like honest feedback, and they felt strongly enough to take the time to write these really kind of vile messages to me. And so I would say, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to share your reaction to this. But it hurt. And this continued with any video that got traction, as I would call it. So they're not going viral. I'm never getting more than tens of thousands of views on something, but any of the videos that get that sort of rapid viewing right when they're posted, I'll get a lot of new viewers. I'll get a lot of comments from people that I've never met, that I've never reached before. So they don't have as much context for who I am and what my track record might be. So I totally get it if somebody has a question or a reaction and feedback for me. And I always ask for feedback. So again, I know I'm asking for it. And so now, as I'm saying all this, I brace myself for these comments. And you'll notice in the videos probably from March or April on, if it's anything controversial, anything that I say that's kind of opinionated, I say it. I say, don't come for me in the comments. If you are the opposite of me here, that's totally fine. We don't have to agree on it. I don't have to be the YouTuber that you like to watch all the time. So I would rather people take a step away if they don't take to me. That's totally fine. I would rather that than people just spew kind of nastiness, because it does stick with people. I don't think we ever need to be nasty to someone. It just doesn't really achieve anything. It's different to stand up for someone or defend someone who's being bullied or spoken down to, or to correct someone if there's just something you need to clarify. But if it's a situation where it's opinion versus opinion and you're not lining up, it doesn't really achieve anything to come on with too much aggression. So anyway, I experienced a lot of that at the beginning of the channel, and it got to the point where I didn't really know what to do with it. And I would talk to my husband about it. And eventually I just learned to kind of roll over and let those things roll off of me. And now we're in a good place. I think now, because I've established who I am, I've established some sort of recurring audience. I know a lot of you who watch most videos I post, and so I see you in the comments. We've emailed, we've chatted on Ravelry, maybe we've met in person. So we do have context for what's going on here. It's not just anonymity and finding a stranger on the internet. So back to tracing what's going on here with the channel. So that was December. You'll see as I scroll over, the numbers are views per day. So December 25th, I'm starting to get hundreds of views per day. And then as I scroll on, I have a day where I got 4,000 views in one day, which to me is incredible. 6,000, almost 7,000 in a day. And this was right around the time that I got married. And I remember being so excited because that was huge. That was the biggest event of my life. And at the same time, I was having this surge on the channel where I was hearing from new people, receiving these comments, getting subscribers, and it felt really, really exciting. It was really, really exciting. So then we go on, and you'll see I'm back to less than 1,000 views per day. Some days kind of peak, but you can see on the chart, we just have some big surges. And I've had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big surges total. So to recap the overview, each time this sort of surge happens, I get a lot of new subscribers, I meet a lot of new people through the comments, and I do feel like the channel grows and it retains that growth until the next time something kind of rises to the top and surges for whatever reason. And talking about the surge, I can never predict what is going to perform well and why. Some of the videos that have done well have been larger hauls or a couple of the travel videos, and that makes sense to me. It feels like a bigger event. It feels like a rarity because you're experiencing something fleeting and special. So I understand why people would click and watch that. Then there are videos I posted like the one about not getting gauge, where I go through how to do different swatches and how I don't get gauge normally. And that video did extremely well. And I didn't think it was a strong video. I almost didn't post it because I just felt like, I don't know, I felt like I wasn't giving very smooth delivery. I thought I should just refilm the whole thing and consider posting it at a later date. So anyway, this is all very unpredictable, but I've had fun doing it. So let's take a look at some of the top performing videos I posted in the last year, just as a little walk down memory lane. So the top video I've ever posted is my drama at the yarn store video. And this was a very organic video to film. I had experienced the situation in the video, which was not huge nor small. It was just an experience. I had told a couple friends about it in person, and I thought, let me share it on the channel. I sat down to wind some yarn as I did it, which I thought might not go very well because of the noise and the visual, and I had plenty of people say that. They said, this is distracting, it's too much, don't do this again. But for the most part, people enjoyed it. There was a lot of intense feedback on this, people saying like the most ridiculous, unbelievable things to me about what kind of person I am, which is fine, but is never fun to hear, especially when you're getting a lot of it. Anyway, at this point it has 58,000 views, which I think is crazy. And as I scroll down, I just mentioned the Why I Never Get Gauge video. It's my second best performing video, which is so interesting to me. And you'll see here the times are the average length that people sit and view the video. Next was How Knitting Saved My Life, which was another very organic video. I didn't expect it to go into such a serious discussion of so many things. I really just sat down to talk about the knitting group that I belonged to in Hereford when I learned how to knit. But as I was sitting there, this was towards the end of our long summer honeymoon trip throughout the United Kingdom, and I was just really overcome. I mean, it's very honest. I promise I'm not performing in these videos. So that one I understand, that I'm sharing a heartfelt story and people connect with it. And if you want to feel moved, go back to that video and look through some of the comments. People have shared the most moving stories with me. And again, I haven't responded to all of the comments there, but I read them all. And I sit and oftentimes I start crying reading people's comments because the things people go through, I mean, it's just insane. The amount of grief, the amount of challenges life throws at someone. And I haven't had many big challenges thrown at me yet, but I'm really, really moved by hearing these stories of survival from people who have. So it's a lot. So if you're in the mood to connect and learn more about some of the community that watch these videos, that's a good place to go look and read those stories. Next is the Notions video. The cat's knocking some stuff down. Next is the Notions video. Again, that makes sense to me because people, they want to see all your stuff. And then we've got the Shetland teddy bears. And then my yarn haul. This was from December 31st, 2023. That was the first video that really got any traction. And then after that, stuff dips down. But I'm blown away. I'm super honored to have these kind of views. I'm blown away that the channel has seen as much growth as it has in its first year. All right, something else that I think is very interesting is to see where my viewers are in the world, and also to see the age and the gender breakdown, which it's not very surprising. The gender breakdown is about 92% female, 8% male. And when I get male subscribers or commenters who are men, I'm always surprised. I don't see a lot of male crafters or knitters out in the world. I see some and I know some in real life, but for me, it's a little place of pride that it's like, oh, good, somebody else who's doing it. Um, so anyway, as for the age of most of the people watching, my biggest demographic is 65 and up. That's 31% of my viewership. After that, it's 55 to 64 years. That's, oh my goodness, this cat is just flopping around. That's 55 to 64 years is 26%, and then 45 to 54 years is 15%. We get a little bit of percentage from 18 to 44, but the majority of people that come to the channel and watch are 45 and up, significantly 55 and up. And then something else I find really interesting is to see where in the world people are watching from. So it makes sense, almost half the viewers are in the United States, and then after that it's almost 12% from the United Kingdom, followed by almost 8% from Canada, and then about 5% from Germany, and then 4% from Australia. I feel like most of the Australian viewers have come to me in the recent months, maybe since my trip to Shetland, but that's been one of my favorite parts. I love, love, love hearing from people that are in other parts of the world, or even people in different regions of the United States, people who share what their climate is like, if it's different from mine, what fibers they purchase, what's popular in their area. I love hearing about that kind of stuff. And hopefully in the future, I'll be able to travel. I really want to take a trip to Australia and New Zealand. So anyway, it's nice to meet people. It's nice to hear about these things around the world, because then it gives me inspiration for somewhere that I would like to go and people that hopefully I can meet. Oh, this kitty is blissed out. You happy? What a good kitty. What a good kitty. Whenever I sit down to talk about something, I swear I could talk for like 6 hours before feeling like I've reached the point. It's just incredible, my ability to ramble. Looking at my little checklist, I've talked about everything except for 3 final topics. I wanted to talk a bit about growth, things that I've experienced, things that have shifted in my life because of this channel. 2, I wanted to talk about my specific future plans, some future projects and ideas. And then 3, the giveaway. Let's start with the growth. My initial plan for this channel, it's definitely a hobby, but I was hoping I would be able to do it in a really professional way. So I sat down, as I said earlier, created the channel in March or April of 2023, knowing that I wanted to give myself several months to prepare for the videos I would start posting. I wanted to post on a consistent basis. So I think I have successfully posted something every week since I started, right at the beginning of 2024. And for a good period of the year, I've posted a second video each week. And that started when I wanted to do more casual videos where I could just sit, tell a story, wind some yarn. And sometimes I have stories to tell, other times I don't. So those videos come sporadically, but I do post something every Saturday, which when I look back on it, feels like a good accomplishment. So in the idea of doing things professionally, I was hoping that eventually I would get to the point where I have 1,000 subscribers and I hit the benchmark to be able to make a little bit of money to fund the channel. I'm not trying to do any of this to get rich or bamboozle people or sell people things. You'll know that I don't really sell you things here. I mean, I talk about where I've purchased my own things. I do have a Patreon page, which to anyone who chooses to support that, thank you. You allow me to take the time each week to sit down, film, and edit, and then still pay my rent and be a functioning human. So one goal was that eventually the channel would be monetized, and that way the views of people just clicking on a video, sitting through an ad or 2, or 5 or 6, I know sometimes there are a lot of ads, would allow me to pay for the cameras, pay for the lights, pay for the software, and pay for a little bit of the time that it takes to do these things. And it's been exciting that I think in my first month, by the time January was over, I had hit 1,000 subscribers. I reached the benchmarks to join the partner program on YouTube so that I could receive some of those advertising fees. And then my goal for the first year was to hit 10,000 subscribers, which for me, it sounded like a very big goal, and it is a big goal. And for a lot of channels, a lot of people out there, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of luck, it takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of consistency to get people to trust that your video is worth watching for whatever reason. So I got there, I don't remember when, at some point in the summer, maybe July or August. And now I like to think we're almost at 20,000 subscribers. Truly, we're almost at 18,000. But when something surges, as I mentioned, subscribers roll in because for whatever reason, I'm reaching a new pocket of people who have never seen these videos. They've never been recommended on their homepage. So you never know. You never know when a surge is going to hit and when things are going to grow. So my goal has been to be consistent, to be honest, and to try to make sure I'm keeping some baseline of quality. All of that to say, in this first year, I do feel that a lot of those principles, a lot of those goals that I set have given me other benefits. I obviously have new skills for editing, using some of this equipment, using the software. I think that I'm better at sitting down, speaking smoothly, delivering my thoughts, sharing something that's hopefully decently engaging. And then on the personal side of it, it's brought me a lot of happiness. I feel more confident. I feel happier in life. I still get sad. I still get depressed about things. I truly feel that this gives me a whole lot more purpose, that I really have a community of people that give of themselves to me, that build me up, that support me, and that care about something that I might have to say. And in return, I get so excited to hear what you have to say. So that's the biggest takeaway: community, community, community. And I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. I'll probably say it a lot in future videos because it is the number one reason that this is a positive experience. I just can't tell you how fun it is to feel like I have a really, really big knitting group or crochet group that I get to spend time with. So it's been really nice. As for the future, I have some ideas of things I'd like to do. I briefly touched on this earlier. I think it would be really great to have some actual in-person gatherings, to do some crafting retreats. Ned and I would love to plan some trips, some destination excursions where we plan a trip and can take a set number of people to some place in the world where we get to learn, where we get to spend time together, where we get to craft and have that experience of the travel and the community. Oh, I'm trying to have a better presence on Ravelry, trying to stay on top of messages there, stay on top of my projects. I've run a make-along this year. It's currently going for the Sea Glass make-along. That's something that I think I want to bring back and do other make-alongs, maybe annually, maybe every other year. It's been great. It's been nice to have those Zoom sessions, to have a little bit more semi-tangible moments together. I'm trying to be an almost daily poster on Instagram just to give little updates of projects, things that are going on. And I do try to be pretty good about responding on Instagram. So if you have comments that you leave on the YouTube videos, but you really want a response and you're frustrated that you're not hearing back, send me an email or maybe comment over on Instagram, and hopefully I'll get back to you that way. And something else I'm toying with the idea of is a true podcast, an audio-only version of me. And it will probably be something that goes first to Patreon supporters and then later comes to the public. And it might be something where I get prompts or questions or topic suggestions from you and then muse on them as I'm crafting, as I'm editing. And it would be an audio-only option for people that want that. Maybe just a way for me to get my thoughts out. So we'll see. And then the last thing I'm considering is a potential TikTok presence. I know a lot of people watching may not be TikTok people, but I spend a lot of time viewing things on TikTok, and there's just so much. And sometimes I want to be a little bit snarky. Sometimes I want to share a more unfiltered opinion on something, but I don't think this is the place for it. I think YouTube is the place where I've created a very loving, supporting, honest, very diverse community. And so this isn't the place for me to have polarizing opinions and for me to be nasty, ever. And not that I need to be nasty anywhere, but sometimes there are things that I just want to react to or put out into the world in a gentle way. And so I might start doing that on TikTok, and that might be the slightly more unfiltered version of Mark. And maybe it's not possible for all of those things to exist harmoniously. And if that's the case, they won't, and this will still be my main investment, but we'll see. So as always, if you have reactions, if you have recommendations, let me know in the comments. And of course, as you normally do, let me know in a civilized manner. So I just want to say a huge thank you, the biggest thank you possible, to those of you who have chosen to subscribe to the channel, to return to the channel, to share with me, to support me. Those of you who choose to do any kind of monetary support. I get so nervous saying it because it feels scary to say, but people that have ever bought me a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee, the people who choose to be recurring Patreon subscribers and supporters, it's huge. And I grew up watching YouTube. I have favorite YouTubers out there, and I've bought their merch. I've been a Patreon supporter for other people in different seasons of my life. And so I know what that feels like. And I know it's a huge thing to do. And it really means the world. And if I could get to the point where I had a huge viewership and people just clicking on my videos left and right, and a lot of money just coming from Google for those ads, that would be great. And then I would love to use that money to make all of these dreams come true and do things to give back. But for now, being a small channel, being somewhere between the line of this is a hobby, but it also is a job, and I get money and I get taxed on it, and I have to sign my documents, and do everything official. I'm trying to do things at a high level, and I'm trying to keep things professional and keep things, I never know how to say it. I'm trying to make sure that this is a great space, a safe space, a happy space, a space where people feel comfortable to share, where people feel comfortable to lean on each other, to grieve, to share their joys, and I'm glad you're part of it. So let me double check my list and make sure I didn't forget anything. That's the other thing I'm really good at, leaving like one or two important things out of the video, and then people say it over and over in the comments. I didn't talk about the giveaway. See, I would have forgotten it. So let me grab the bag from the wall, the real color that I'm going to give away. So here's the bag for the giveaway. This is the redesigned project bag. The company is called Redesigned, and the bag is a Project 10 bag. It's a leather bag with the zipper running sort of diagonally, and this one still has everything that comes with it. It's got the dust bag, it's got the packing inside so that it's holding its shape well. So this is how it will come to you if you are the winner of the giveaway, but I'll show you the version that I've been using, that I've been enjoying, just to break down how the bag works and what its features are. So you'll notice the version being given away is the darker, I think it's the walnut, and this was the lighter. I don't remember what color the shade is called. And when I first showed these bags for the unboxing, most people had a resounding vote for this bag being the more attractive, more classic bag. So I thought that's the one that I'll do for the giveaway. And then I've decided that this one will be the bag I use, so I've been using it for the last maybe month. So when you open it, it's got a lot of space inside. It's got two pockets that stretch and hold like a 50-gram skein. And then in the center, there's a zip pouch. I've got some stitch saver, a pair of scissors that I love. They're tiny and they have this little sheath that stays attached, and they're very sharp. So I keep those in there. And then I've got my little needle stoppers. I think these were from Magpie. They feel very fancy. It was a Christmas gift last year. So I keep a couple things in the center, but the center pouch does hold a good bit. And then there are also elastic bands along the side where you could put all sorts of things. You could put crochet hooks, knitting needles, double pointed, pens, anything sort of straight and slender. And the bag holds quite a bit. So this is it. As it folds up, of course you lose some of that space, but you can still manage to fit quite a bit. So this is a sweater project. It's my sparkle sweater, my slightly controversial sparkle sweater with a skein of the yarn. So it's got room inside for probably 200 or 300 grams of fiber plus an in-progress project, or enough room for maybe a large, full-sized sweater project or baby blanket project. So anything smaller than that, you're good to go. It does have the zipper, which sometimes I'm disappointed about because the yarn snags in the zipper. And then finally, I was like, oh, just turn the bag the other way. I used to turn it sort of this way, have the project across from me, and then the yarn would pull right through the zipper. I don't know why it took me so long. I turned the bag to the side, and now the yarn pulls along this even edge. So one of the nice selling features is that the bag sits open. When you unzip it, it sits flat, and then you have a pretty large workspace where you could put your things. You could have it in front of you at your desk, your crafting space, wherever your crafting group meets. You've got one handle on the top. It's offset, I think just for the, I don't know, like the physics of the bag so that the weight is best distributed. But you'll see it's not in the center. As soon as I bought this and it came and I opened it and showed it off on camera, they released another version of the bag that has a strap. It has fasteners on the side. It comes with a strap, and I think it has an external pocket. And at first I was very frustrated, thinking I would have preferred that bag. But actually, after using this for the last month, I do like that it's kind of low profile. This can just be carried along. It can go inside a larger tote if I'm taking lots of stuff with me somewhere. So I don't know that I would actually want the one with the pocket on the front and the straps. I like that this is, for the most part, compact, and I can just grab it and carry it along or toss it into a bigger bag. So if you're interested in being considered for the giveaway, there are 2 things you need to do, really 3 things. The first is make sure you're subscribed. You're probably already subscribed, but if not, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it, and it helps me in all ways here on YouTube. The second thing is to leave a comment below letting me know what was your favorite video that I posted in the last year. So did you have something that stood out, something you enjoyed particularly? The last thing you need to do is come back to the channel in a week's time to see the winner announcement. I don't have a way of messaging people directly here on YouTube, so I'll choose the winner from the comments and then I'll announce the winner in next Saturday's video. So make sure you come back. If that winner is you, I'll need you to get in touch with me so that I can send the bag off in your direction. So to recap, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a comment below letting me know what was your favorite video, your favorite topic, your favorite project. What video did you enjoy most in the last year? And then come back to see if you're the winner next week. I'll leave the giveaway open until the end of day Thursday, November 14th. That gives me time to choose one of you as the winner, record the little bit, and then put it into next Saturday's video. So hopefully in the video I post on Saturday, November 16th, I'll announce the winner. If it's you, you'll get in touch with me, and then the bag will make its way to your part of the world. This giveaway is open to anyone, no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have a valid mailing address. So once you're selected, we'll get in touch and talk about how to get the bag to you. Okay, now I think that's it. Thank you for spending some time with me. Thanks for listening to the ramble. It's great to know you. It's great to be here with you. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments, maybe through email, or maybe on Ravelry. You can find me everywhere at MakerMarkKnits or MakerMarkKnits@gmail.com. And make sure you're subscribed. If you're already a Patreon supporter, thank you. You know how much it means to me. If you're interested in showing support, you can always do that over on Patreon or through Buy Me a Coffee. All of those links are in the description box below, and I'm just grateful that you chose to be here. As always, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy crafting to you, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.